Thank you. Welcome everyone to the April 2023 Police Oversight Panel General Monthly Meeting. I am going to start with a Native Land and People acknowledgement. We acknowledge the Arapaho, Ute, and Cheyenne tribes, the traditional custodians of the land on which the Police Oversight Panel and the Boulder Police Department operate. And we pay our respects to their elders past and present. And next we will move to an approval of our monthly minutes for our March meeting. Can I have do we have any objections to last month's minutes? Perfect, then we get a motion to approve. Perfect, I see Lisa. Motion, I will second. And I think that's it, right? Or do we need a full quorum vote on that one? Remind me, we do. Okay, let's go ahead and vote to approve our March minutes. Show of hands for yay. I see you, 1, 2, I see you, Lisa, I see you, Jason, and Sarah. Perfect. Anyone to reject? Excellent. All right, next we will move on to our training schedule. Am I talking on this, or is there somebody else that's going to be?
I'm happy to chime in.
Sure.
So just to reiterate, we had our March 18th role of the BPOP in the complaint and disciplinary process, and the role of the BPD professional standards unit with Sergeant Alistair McNiven from the police department, and Flo Finkel ran the first part of that. Thank you so much, Flo. That was quite an investment of time, but I think it was incredibly helpful for folks. Our next training that we have is on April 22nd. Mike Giannaco and Farah Muscadin are the ones who are going to be presenting that next iteration of our training. They will be virtual, but we are asking all of y'all to come in person. We're going to do breakfast with the city manager at 9 a.m. So you'll have a chance to have an informal conversation with Nuria, get to know her a little bit better, and then also eat some yummy breakfast. Gianna's hooked us up there. She's got us a yummy breakfast ordered. So that meeting will start at 9 a.m. You should all have that on your calendars. At 9:30, we will start the training with Farah kicking us off the history of civilian oversight, and Mike Giannaco will do the principles of accountability following that. The intention is to record both of those trainings, so we can also post those on the Police Oversight Panel website before we start diving into community engagement, which we'll talk a little bit about around the ordinance. We thought that baseline knowledge would help that conversation with some of our community members. Other questions? Yes, Milen.
I'll be out of town on the 22nd. I actually have something else planned for that, but I can probably reschedule to be present if I could be on Zoom as well. Because I would love to participate if at all possible.
Yeah, if you want to do Zoom, Sam, are you still traveling? You coming home ever, Sam?
Yeah, I'll be back in May.
Okay. Okay, if you need to do it via Zoom, that's fine, but we will also be recording it. So if you're traveling and you're vacationing, I'd hate for you to have to like pull over on the side of the road or something like that. But
it's both work and vacation, so I can. But yeah, I would love to participate.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for making the accommodation. I appreciate that.
No worries.
On that invite, it's a Teams meeting link, not a Zoom, that's already set up. So if you go to that meeting link, there's a Teams.
Great. Thanks, Corey.
Okay. Thank you for that, Corey. And then I also sent a note. There's a couple of different things. I sent a note to Sergeant McNiven. I know some folks have been asking about the ride-alongs. And so we will be getting information. You can I'll send an email out saying, here's how you can sign up to do a ride along, and he can pair you with someone. We also are going to be looking at that list of trainings to kind of determine when it makes the most sense for you to do the next iteration of your training that really takes place more from the police side. So learning more about some of their principles and policies and all of that stuff. So more to come on that. We're trying to get you through this like fast and furious first part where you're really learning kind of the ropes of the processes that you're going to be using most, and push those out a little bit later, those other trainings. So more to come on that. And then we also have some goodies that we'll hand out at that April 22nd session. There is a book, and I don't have it in front of me because it's on my office desk. Farah, can you recall the name of the, or Flo, the name of the book, how to evaluate and do an investigation as a resource?
It's something like that. It's along those lines by Barbara Attard.
Okay, so I ordered everybody a copy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ordered everybody a copy because that'll just be a good supplemental resource for when you're doing your case reviews to have that on hand. I think that is all I have for training. Is there other questions? Oh, Sterling, I did reach out to Sterling this week, and he has offered for folks who want to come and do a tour of the police department. We can make that happen. We just need to send a doodle poll to see, show of hands, who would be interested in doing a walkthrough of the public safety building sometime in May after our colleagues. Okay, Jason, Sam, Mylène. Okay. All right, well, we'll send out a doodle poll for those who've expressed interest. We'll send it to all of you. So if you've changed your mind, it's a good way to see the dispatch room, see how the calls come in, things like that, get a really good scope of the lay of the land there. Any questions? Thoughts? Yes, Jason.
I put it on the chat, but do we have access to all of the, okay, looks like it's being responded to, the BPD manuals.
Mhm.
And I haven't looked on this website, so I'll look there, and if I have issues, I'll raise it again. Okay.
So they
Thanks.
should all be, Jason, yeah, in your SharePoint, the police oversight panel SharePoint.
Okay.
So if you start going through there's a ton of info on there, and yes, the rules and orders. I will say that the police department is in negotiations sometime over the next 8 weeks for their contract. So we'll learn more about what that process looks like, but hopefully they'll get another iteration of their contract. But for now, they're still operating under the one that you will see on the SharePoint site.
Are we involved in making recommendations on that negotiation at all?
We are not at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I tried to weasel in myself, didn't get there. All right. I think we're going to turn it over to the next part of our agenda.
Awesome, thank you. So the only other item we had related to training, and sorry, I kind of skipped over this part, was just as a comment for the community. We did have one training already. That was March 18th, and that was about the role of the panel in the complaint disciplinary process and the role of BPD professional standards units, or PSU. The first presentation was by OIR, specifically Flo, that's with us from OIR. And the presentation on the PSU was Sergeant McNiven. We also wanted to offer up some time in case anybody on the panel had any comments or thoughts that they wanted to share after that training. Perfect, okay. Wonderful, and we will move on. The next item on our agenda is a reminder that we have an upcoming quarterly meeting with Chief Harold. It is scheduled for April 26th, 2023. So in a couple weeks here. Doesn't have a time listed on the agenda. Amy, can you confirm for us what time that is? Sorry, I think I can find it as well.
That is 6:30. You all should have that on your calendars. That will be at the Penfield Tate Building. So for those of you who've been on the panel for a bit, that's a shift. So it won't be at the public safety building. It will be downtown at the Penfield Tate building where we've done our other orientations.
So thank you for confirming, Amy.
You bet. Corey, real quick.
Mm.
That one we're going to need a Zoom link hooked up for that. So
Okay,
community members can participate, and then also so Sam can participate.
okay, I will change it from Teams to a Zoom, and then
That-
just the panel knows I'll order dinner that night as well.
Cool. And I misspoke. It is not Gianna who's ordering breakfast. She's ordering all my breakfast for next week. Corey's ordering us breakfast for the 22nd. So it'll be great.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, next on our agenda, we have our committee reports. So we'll start with the Community Engagement and Communications Committee. Does anybody have from that committee that would like to share? Any highlights or updates? It looks like Victor is not here, right? Okay, did we assign him?
And I think Daniel was the other person. Lisa, were you present at the meeting? Madeline, I think you were at the governance or at the community engagement meeting, perhaps.
Yeah, I was present.
Right.
Victor was going to make the report though.
Hmm.
I was there as well. I can read through my notes. I'm not sure they're very clear.
Sure,
Um,
I think the highlights, unless there's anything that was like we needed to discuss at the meeting, would be like if we decided any new co-chairs, or if, meetings
Yeah.
at a more regular time.
Yeah, so Victor and Daniel talked to us about, what they've been trying to do in the past, what they would like to do, how they see it moving forward. And in terms of finding chairs and co-chairs, because there were some members who were not there, Soledad being one. Victor didn't want to be chair or co-chair, neither did Daniel. I don't think Daniel could, but and then Madeline was not does not have the time to do that, and I honestly don't either, but was willing to potentially explore being co-chair with Soledad if she was willing to go that. So we have not had a vote yet, and that's the status of it right now.
Perfect, that's lovely. Thank you so much for sharing, Milan. All right, for governance committee. Lisa, would you like to share for us?
Well, sure. I don't have your notes, Hadassah. I was actually just looking and couldn't find them, but to the best of my recollection, well, let's see, because you are now our lauded top co-chair, you are ready to step down as chair of governance. So I took over there. And then the bulk of our meeting was, I think, just going over some of the procedural elements of how we want to move forward with this work and discussing a little bit about places where the bylaws and the ordinance intersect and places where they're separate and preparing for the year ahead of us. Does that sound about right?
Sorry, yep, that sounds perfect. We did elect Lisa, our governance chair. So she will be leading those meetings for us and helping us kind of wrangle ourselves together. Yeah, and then the other items we discussed was, let's see, so we're keeping our third Wednesday of the month, 6 to 7 p.m. And we kind of selected, so we went over the specific parts of the bylaws that we had been raised to the governance committee beforehand in terms of amendments we'd like to make. And so we each kind of took a section and we'll be working and wordsmithing those sections each independently. And then next month we'll have sort of a coming together and, when those are ready, then we'll present them to y'all for a vote.
Hadassah, I did look for those notes and I'm not sure if I'm just looking in the wrong spot, but could you link them to me in the SharePoint?
Yep, definitely.
Thank you.
Mhm. Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, so Let me go back. And then next we had the Legacy Committee.
I could take it.
Perfect. Thanks, Sam.
All right. So at our first meeting, Chico and I were nominated and elected as co-chairs. We came up with a list of potential project ideas for like things to look into the data to study. And we scheduled, one of our action items was to reach out to the City of Boulder's, the police department's data analyst, Daniel Reinhard. And thanks to Flo really hustling on that, we actually had, Chico couldn't make the meeting this morning, but I got to meet with him and Sergeant McNiven this morning for a preliminary conversation. And overall, it's just promising, you know, because I was the only one there, I felt a little freer to just ask dumb questions. And I had a pretty good sense of like how their data is laid out after that. But I think that there was still so much to talk about. And we kind of focused on technical details today. And like, you know, we only got to talking about like the projects in the last like 5 or 10 minutes. So we decided that we'll have another meeting open to anyone here who's interested, with them talking about specific projects. And the data analyst, you know, has been kind of doing criminology for his whole career. So we'll have some interesting feedback for any of these projects in terms of like whether the data is available or not. And now that I kind of know how the data is laid out, I feel like a bit more comfortable, you know, like it's not such a one-sided conversation where like, because I feel like we have some responsibility not to just like take the word totally naively, right? We want to have our own perspective as well. So maybe we could get a quick show of hands for anyone interested in this meeting. And I'll make sure you're included in the scheduling. Okay.
Sam, I think
And-
that would make it a public meeting if it's more than 2 of you. Just an FYI.
Okay, so so maybe we'll loop you in, Amy, to help us make sure it's like properly advertised and things like that.
Yeah, Corey's the one who can really help with that.
Okay. And
It's not a problem. It's just making sure that we have it in advance and or, you know.
Okay, that's a good reminder because I totally forgot. So I
All
got,
of the
okay.
committee meetings are your subcommittee meetings. Those are all open to the public. And so if you are having a bunch of you in a space, yep, hands, Lisa and Jason. Lisa, then Jason, then Hadassah.
And Hadassah.
And then,
And Chico.
oh,
of
you're
course.
adding up. Cool.
Yeah, and Madeline. And Mylene. Sweet. Okay, awesome. So I'll send everyone who responded with a hand a scheduling poll, and we can pick a time and we'll find a time that works for us and forward it to them so that they can just like pick one of the remaining times. Sweet. I mean, there's enough interest that I wonder if it makes sense to just include them on a subcommit, like on one of our legacy committee meetings. I don't know. Hadassah, it looks like you have the thought.
Yeah, you mean like inviting just the data doctor to our meeting, to our legacy meeting?
Yeah, like would that kind of just logistically work better, since then we don't have to do a big scheduling.
I think that's a better alternative.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it's available, that I think I'm open to
okay,
it.
great. So I'll see. Okay, I'll see if they're free to come to the next subcommittee meeting or a committee meeting. And if that time just like doesn't work systematically, then we can do something more complicated. And I'll just quickly, so one of the things we wanted to bring to this group from our committee meeting was, you know, whatever project we decide to do in terms of like looking at legacy, the legacy of policing in Boulder, it's not like, that's not a question that's specific to the legacy committee, right? We're just going to like make sure that's carried out and like the analysis is done, but everyone here potentially has some opinion on what questions should be looked at. So I'm just going to very quickly list the things we had thrown on the table so far. And I kind of leave with everyone else like the homework or challenge to think about other potential projects that you would be curious about, and to bring that to the next meeting with the analysts, so we can like ask them all of these possibilities at once and pick a project based off like a combination of collective general interest and feasibility. Okay, so the list of projects that we had come up with last time are the following. One is juvenile interactions between the PD and the public. This was like the ongoing project from before, like last year's term. Another broad umbrella of issues is homelessness. A third one is the history of like complaints and how they've been handled. And Farah had done this in Austin, and it kind of is relevant to us as a panel. Another one is traffic stops and like ethnic racial bias, because the BPD has like done like this pilot program for collecting race and ethnicity of people they've stopped that they haven't ticketed. And I don't know how far they've gone in analyzing that data. Another one is mental health referrals. Another one is racial bias in interactions between police and the public when it was initiated from a call, like someone phoned it in, versus like the police just like drove down the street and like made a discretionary stop. The last one was digging into, because the police have to self-identify, like they visually identify people as like their ethnicity and race. We had another idea, like drilling into that and seeing like how accurate the reports were. So thanks, Hadassah, for listing them out. The notes, I'm just going to drop a big link. These are the notes from last time, and Hadassah and I took notes, and they should be there too. Okay, that's all the updates.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sam. Very, very excited for potential projects and for this movement. So very excited. Thank you. All right. Next, we have a status report on the hiring of an independent monitor. And I will hand that over to Amy.
Yeah, so I had hoped to have a better update for you, that we were live and it was posted and ready to roll, but I am still waiting on the brochure from the recruiter. So hoping to get that in the next week or two, along with a timeline. So I'm sending the recruiter times where we're definitely not going to be able to do any type of interview process just based on calendars, people being gone and things like that from my space, from our human resources director's calendar, and also from Nuria's calendar. But it's looking like we will probably be doing some type of virtual interviews mid to late June, with hoping late June or early July, mid-July, doing in-person interviews. So just putting a pin in that. We'll want a couple of you to participate in the interview day itself, if a couple of you are open to participating in that. And then we will also, of course, be hosting some type of community engagement event, or at least the minimum, well, and a reception. So at least y'all can get in there and have one-on-one conversations with those individuals. So more to come on that. But do start thinking, if you're somebody who's like, gosh, spending a day with the city staff and interviewing possible independent police monitor sounds like a whole lot of fun, we would love to have you. So just think about who might want to be able to do that. Any other questions? I will say one reason this is taking a little bit longer, we did send the position back to really evaluate some things that we've noticed over the past throughout the past recruitment process that might have limited our pool. So we're trying to expand it so it can seem even more tempting.
Wonderful. Thank you, Amy. All right. Next up on our agenda, we have an update from our consultant on the police oversight ordinance work that's being done. And I'll hand that over to Farah.
Excuse me. Hi, everyone. Good evening. I just have a few things. I'm super excited to get this work going. For community who's watching, my name is Farah Muscadin, consultant to the panel, and helping to work primarily the updates to the police oversight panel ordinance. I've spent probably the last maybe month having several meetings with various community members, current and former panel members, current and former council members, various members of community organization, selection, the selection committee, I forgot what the committee was called, but it was the committee that basically worked together for a year and a half to create the panel. I spoke to a couple of members there. And these were awesome conversations. I learned a lot about the process, Police Oversight Task Force. Thank you, Amy. And, about kind of the expectations and the understanding about the panel and its work. And so I just want to highlight some themes that came up in pretty much every single conversation. There seems to be a little bit of a misalignment in terms of what people think the panel does and what the panel actually does. And so we need to work at aligning that and make sure that there's a common understanding. It's going to obviously help with managing expectations, which is generally, an issue with civilian police oversight anyway. The selection process came up in pretty much every single conversation, and working through some clarity about the actual process, what's communicated, making it more transparent, and questions about, whether or not council should make the final decision. So those were some very insightful conversations. And then I would say the next that came up pretty consistently is, what happens when there's a disagreement with the chief on discipline? A lot of that has been referred to as an appeals process. I'm not quite sure I would call that an appeals process, but that's how people that the stakeholders I've been talking to have called it. And so talking through what that means, what the expectations are on about that, and is that something that can be explored? The next thing I would say is the transparency, and this takes a couple different routes. Transparency in terms of what the panel itself can make public and present, so that the community knows the type of work that you're doing. And then transparency on the other side in terms of what can you say as a panel publicly. And so there wanted to be some more definitive scope around both the transparencies. And I obviously can definitely relate to the transparency coming from a city that is very limited. And my perspective on that is that if it's not prohibited, it should be made public. And so I think what the sense that I got from talking to community stakeholders is wanting to see more of the work that the panel is doing in a more kind of public way. And then lastly, this came up in several conversations, was having access to potentially an outside counsel to help advise, the panel on specific issues. Particularly, it came up particularly when there's a disagreement or a question about the ordinance. Is there a way to have, an attorney that would be specific to the panel that the panel could call on as needed? And so those are, I would say, the top kind of themes that came through that were pretty consistent throughout my conversations. And I talked to a cross-reference of people that were very, very helpful. And from there, I put a project plan together. And I'm really hoping today we can have an open conversation about what I've called the Police Oversight Panel Work Group that I could work with to work on the revisions to the ordinance, and really work to, kind of rolling up our sleeves and really delving into the language, and seeing. I think the gaps are pretty self-evident, but seeing how we can minimize and reduce some of those gaps and provide greater clarification. And so I mentioned briefly a little bit of our project timeline. What I put together was really the rolling up the sleeves will happen in, this month, May and June. I'm hoping to work with the panel to do a community event to get feedback from community members in mid-June. I believe that would be tentatively, I'm just looking at the timeline I have right here. I believe it's tentatively the week of June 19th. And obviously in person. And then obviously there would be ongoing updates at every panel meeting. There I factored in briefings to council, potentially a study session, and then presenting it to council for it to go through that kind of formal process. I mean, you guys seem to be more familiar with that than me, but we are tentatively aiming for September, the September 21st council meeting. So it is an aggressive timeline, but I think that we can make it. What I have told everyone in my conversations is that the wild card that I cannot control is obviously community input and engagement. And so, I'm, establishing that kind of expectation. We are aiming for September, but it really kind of depends on the feedback and stuff that we go and how the direction conversations are going. I'm throwing this out there. I know that there's still some decisions that need to be made with the Community Engagement Committee, but I would really like to work closely with them on this engagement for June and have it be obviously collaborative. It's not really my engagement, it's the panel's engagement about feedback on the ordinance, but I'd like to do that work through the committee if that sounds good to everyone. And the last thing, I thought this would be helpful, I offered it to the co-chairs, but it was an offer to everybody, is that I think it's helpful to speak to people that have been in your shoes or that are in your shoes. So I have offered to facilitate a meeting with some former members from the Austin Community Police Review Commission, particularly the co-chairs. And they are almost in the exact same situation that you have been if we revamped that panel. And so kind of starting from scratch and building that and hit some bumps, very similar bumps you guys have hit. So I thought there could be some camaraderie and maybe some commiseration with meeting with them and some words of wisdom. So I've talked to 3 former members and they're very open to talking with you and having a meeting. And these are people I worked with very, very closely. And so I know that they will share their insights and perspectives with you and be however helpful they can. So that's pretty much the update. Sorry if I was talking really fast, but I'm really looking forward to, again, rolling up our sleeves and delving into the specifics of what needs to be changed in the ordinance. And then obviously I'm available to anyone via phone or email for questions in the meantime, but I do anticipate keeping you guys updated at every monthly meeting so that you know kind of where we're going, any hot topics, and just basically keeping you up to date of the progress of the revision. So that is my update. I'm happy to take any questions if that's appropriate, Hadassah, or just happy to wait too.
Sorry, yeah, I think if anyone has questions, feel free to answer.
Hey, Farah, are there any resources in this whole process from NACO that can be used or not?
Yeah, I think so. I still have a pretty good relationship with NACO and I've talked to them. I've been doing a lot of research, and so most of my research has been from NACO. So I definitely think that's there. From my previous work, I had the I call them my police oversight support group. It was a group of practitioners that I relied on pretty heavily, and so they are always available. So I think the answer to that is emphatically yes. I think it just depends on what it looks like, but yeah, they're a natural resource and my go-to for pretty much everything police oversight.
Lisa, was that a hand? No, okay. Anybody have any other questions for Farah? Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for the update, Farah. All right. About 20 minutes in. How do you feel, Flo? Do you want to start your report or do you want to take a break before your report?
This is a very brief report. There are no substantive descriptions of cases to get into. It's just, this will take just a minute or two.
Okay, sure. Let's go ahead and jump in.
Corey, or can someone allow me to share the screen, please?
There you go, Flo. You should be co-host now.
Yes, all right. Okay. Hi again, I'm Florence Finkel. I'm on behalf of the OIR group serving as the interim independent police monitor for Boulder. This is the monthly statistical report, and the panel did not conduct any full case file reviews in March, and so there are no case file review. There are no board recommendations that are pending police department disposition. All those cases have been closed. There are 11 cases that the panel has voted on to conduct full case reviews. They're in different stages at this point. 4 case reviews are scheduled this month. 7 cases are pending the department's completion of the investigation. Oops. And in April, the monitor in March, the monitor classified 4 new complaints as misconduct complaints. Those are the ones that are in the April case summaries. There were no new serious misconduct cases or community inquiries. And as of just a couple of days ago, April 10th, 2023, there were on the monitor panel docket combined 21 open cases, and that completes my report.
Perfect. Thank you, Flo. All right, let's go ahead and take 5 minutes for a quick little bio break. And so I have 7:12. Let's come back at 7:18 to ensure that we get that full minute because I don't know how far. Oh, yep, 7:13 now. So 7:18, please. Thanks, everyone.
posting.
Awesome. We are at 7:18. We'll start coming in because next up we'll do our case reviews. Thank you, Amy. I got Soledad's votes. Thank you. Right, do we have everyone back? So. If you're not able to turn on your camera, if you can just do a little hand just to let me know you're here. So we can start our voting.
Hadassah, can I ask a question?
Sure.
So I think last time it seemed like there were some confusion with newer members about this voting process, and we were going to discuss it, I think, briefly this time. That I had been under the impression that I would vote yes if I thought something needed review, regardless of whether I wanted to review it. I would vote no if I thought something would be a waste of the panel's time. But then it felt like a lot of situations where I don't feel like it would be a waste of people's time, but it doesn't raise flags for me. And so I was abstaining, and other new members were as well. And then it sounded like we were told that abstaining was not ideal. And I thought maybe we could just hear a little bit about why that is and get all on the same page before voting tonight.
Sure, yeah. So the way that the process does go is that, in this part of the phase, we as a panel are choosing whether or not to review our case or not. And that would be by a majority or quorum vote.
Can you all hear Hadassah?
Sorry, can you hear me, everyone?
We can? Okay, it's me.
Okay. And so if we choose at that point to not review that case, i.e. it does not get a quorum vote of 6 since we're 11, then at that point it would stop, the process would stop for that complaint. it would have, the investigation was done by PSU, but we are not going to make any recommendations. PSU might still, because it does still go through their internal review process, but we would not be looking at it.
Yeah, no, I understand that's how it works. I think the question is more, if there's 3 folks that want to review a case, why should I block that review if it doesn't particularly interest me? But the no vote is confusing to me, unless there's something that's obviously like an abuse of the POP's authority. I'm not sure why I would vote no on something if 3 people want to review it. And I'm not sure why I would vote yes on it if I don't think it rises to a level of particular interest for me.
Because it's not just about us. It's about all of us.
Yeah.
Sorry, so yeah, can you say more, Sarah?
Yeah, so like.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily about what you care about. It's about what we deem to be by a majority. I think we do simple majority now, right, Hadassah? By a majority worth reviewing. So it's not necessarily about what Lisa or Sarah or Hadassah or whoever actually cares about.
So does that mean that unless I think something is really a waste of the panel's time, that you're suggesting that I should default to a yes vote?
No, I'm suggesting that you use your citizen best judgment to say yes to review to something or no to review to something.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and I think as you start to do more, you'll kind of define what the line is for you. Kind of what you just stated, Lisa. Like for me, it's unless it seems like a huge waste of time, I'm gonna say yes. So that's kind of where you can decide where you want to be in terms of each case, and that's why we get to look at it and make that decision. But sorry, Sam, I see your hand. Go ahead.
Yeah, I still haven't reviewed any cases, and I forget from the training, as we like in the review, do we get to comment on other aspects of the interaction, or is it completely focused on the complaint? Because it seems like we as the panel would sort of have the most influence on the police's conduct if we review every case, right? Because then we see the most, and even if we don't, on the face of it, it doesn't look problematic, maybe there's something in the footage or this or that turns out to be.
Right. Yeah. Yes, we definitely have had times where we've made and it's always within our rights to make recommendations that aren't necessarily just explicitly sustaining or not sustaining or deciding that something is it's not just about the case. We can also make further recommendations and say other things in our feedback to the police.
Hadassah, I think just to put context, there's 2 issues here that we need to be cognizant of. The first is that we, at this forum, this public open meeting, we elect whether we are going to review a case or not. Then if we decide to review a case, that's when we go into details and whatever we can make recommendations or whatever we want to do afterwards. So there's 2 things that are going on here. So I think we have to remember that.
Definitely. Thank you, Chico. Okay. Any other thoughts before we jump into voting? Excellent. Okay, we'll start with case that ends in 008. There are 2 complaints against 2 different officers. Sorry, there are 3 complaints. One against Officer 1, for violation of Rule 1, compliance with values, rules, and general orders. That's General Order 305. General Order 305. And Officer 2 had 2 allegations of Rule 1, compliance with values, rules, general orders, General Order 130, and Rule 1, General Order 200-5. Okay, can I see a show of hands to review case 008. Okay, I see you, Sam. I see you, Sarah. Thank you. That's myself. All right, thank you. And a show of hands to not review this case. Thank you, Jason and Chico. Sorry, Amy, I see your hand. Go ahead, you're on mute. Oh, you're still on mute, or we can't hear you.
Okay, let's do it.
Right. So I have 3 yeses and 2 nos. Oh, right, thank you.
I had my hand up for yes, Hadassah. I don't know if you got me.
No, I didn't. Sorry. Thank you, Lisa.
And Milan as well.
Lynn as well for a yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I have 5 yeses and 2 nos. Madeline? No? Yes? Gotcha. All right, so that is 6 yeses and 2 nos. Sorry.
Yes, yes.
Yes. All right, 6 yeses and 2 nos. So that is a majority to review case 008. Thank you, everyone. All right, for case 009, we have several allegations. We have 3 against Officer 1, violation of Rule 1, compliance with values, rules, and general orders, General Order 130, Rule 4, respect for others, and Rule 5, police authority and public trust. Officer 2, there's an allegation of Rule 1, compliance with values, rules, and general orders, General Order 130. And Officer 3, there's an allegation against Rule 1, compliance with values, rules, and general orders, General Order 130 as well. Okay, can I see a show of hands to review this case? Thank you, Lisa. I see you, Sam. I see you, Mylin. I see you, Sarah. I'm also a yes. 5, okay. Thank you. All right, and a show of hands for no. You, Jason and Chico. And Madeline, thank you. Okay, that is a majority vote to review case 009. All right, case 010. I have a allegation against Officer 1, sorry. Rule 1, compliance with values, rules, and general orders, General Order 101, unbiased policing. Rule 5, rule authority and public trust. Rule 1, compliance with values, rules, and general orders, General Order 305. Officer 2, there's an allegation of Rule 1, compliance with values, rules, and general orders, General Order 101, unbiased policing. Of Rule 1, compliance with values, rules, and general orders, General Order 305. Rule 1, compliance with values, rules, and general orders, General Order 305-8. And Rule 1, compliance with values, rules, and general orders, General Order 200-5. Can I see a vote to approve this case review? Thank you, Sam. I see you, Mylin. I see you, Sarah.
Hadassah, I need to recuse from this case. Am I permitted to vote on whether or not the POP should take it? Okay.
No. Thank you. We will note that. And I did have a yes vote for Soledad that let us know she was a yes. I see you, Madeline. Thank you. All right. Can I see hands for a no, please? See Jason and Chico. All right. So that is 6-2 for yes to review case 0. Yeah, sorry, my lines went down 010. All right. Thank you. Let's move down here. All right, case 011. We have one allegation against one officer for Rule 1 compliance with values, rules, and general orders. That is General Order 203. Can I see a show of hands to review this case, please? Thank you, Sam. I have a vote from Soledad. I have a vote for myself. And a vote for Lisa. Thank you. Okay. All right. Can I see a show of hands for no? 011. That's Jason. Thank you. Sarah. Madeline. That is us. Okay. That is, oh, and Maylin, sorry. Oh, right, because it's Soledad. All right, so that is a 5-4 majority. Yes to review case 011. Thank you, everyone. All right, and our last case is case 012. Allegations against Officer 1. There are a few here. Rule 1, compliance with values, rules, and general orders, General Order 305. Rule 1, compliance with values, rules, and general orders, General Order 305. There are 2 different counts of that. Rule 6, use of force, General Order 225. Rule 1, compliance with values, rules, general orders, General Order 130, criminal process. Rule 1, compliance with values, rules, general orders, and General Order 305. So that's actually 3 counts of that against Officer 1. Officer 2, there are 3 counts, 1 against Rule 1, or 3 allegations, sorry. Compliance with values, rules, and general orders, General Order 305. Rule 1, compliance with values, rules, and general orders, General Order 130, criminal process. And Rule 4, respect for others. Against Officer 3, there's an allegation of Rule 1, compliance with values, rules, and general orders, General Order 305. Okay. Can I see hands for a yes?
Hadassah,
Yes.
before we vote on this, is it possible just to give us a bit of context on, I wasn't sure from Flo, the last paragraph on how you get to the designation of community inquiry? Because that will depend on, that will drive whether I vote yes or no on this.
Can we get into any details, or would this need to be a closed session for? No, okay.
Generally, allegation that someone complains that they did not commit an act that is the subject of a summons or an arrest without anything more. It's my understanding there's a long tradition that is a community inquiry, because the proper venue for making complaint about that is in court. There are instances where such an allegation could be an allegation. For example, if it was a product of racial bias, or the summons or arrest was made in retaliation for something a person said or did, independent of the alleged act at issue.
Yep, Jason, I see your hand.
Thank you. Normally I would vote against reviewing this one, but I want to say that the frisk of this person concerns me, because I do not see any reason to think that this person is armed or dangerous. And that is why I would vote yes.
Sorry, so how does the community inquiry thing play into this? If we vote yes, does it still go to us, or what are we even, what's on the table for voting?
All the allegations listed would be subject to your review and recommendations.
Yeah, I think it would still go through the same process if we vote to review. All right, do we feel ready to vote? Awesome. Okay, can I see a show of hands for yeses to review this case? Thank you, Madeline. I see you, Maylin and Sam and Chico. All right, and Jason, thank you. I'm also a yes. And Sarah, I see you. Thank you. All right. Can I see show of hands for a no? Lisa. And Madeline, thank you. Okay, so that is a yes to review case 012. So that was a across the board.
And this, I think Madeline had her hand up from, yes. Still.
Yes, okay, sorry, thank you. All
Yes,
right.
that's
so that-
correct.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right, so that was 7-1. All right. Still, we are reviewing. So Corey for scheduling. We are going to be reviewing all 5 of these cases. Okay.
Now we need to assign people to do all the work.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Sorry, I always forget that part. Okay. All right, let's select for, okay, 008. I guess if there's, yeah, who wants to review case 008, like as in be on the case review itself. All right, I see Sam. I will jump on that one. Okay, we just need one more.
I will.
Sarah, I see you. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, 009. See you, Lisa. Sam. And Maylin, thank you. And is this going to be a first case review for all of y'all that we're scheduling this one? 009, Maylin, Lisa, and Sam.
I don't think so. I think, I guess it depends on when it happens, but Milan and I are also doing the one on May 3rd, which I think happens probably before this.
Probably before. Okay, okay, perfect. I'll just say, like, if you need somebody, whoever can throw me in anywhere, but I think. Okay, perfect. All right, 010. People to review this case. Soledad is on this one. I see, I will throw myself on there. And Madeline, thank you. Perfect. Okay, 010.
Hold on one second.
Okay,
Hold
Flo, go
on.
ahead.
It's Hadassah on 010. Who do we have? Hadassah?
Soledad and Madeline.
Okay.
All right, and then 010. Soledad is also volunteered for this one. Madeline, is your hand up for 011 also? No. I'm guessing no. It looks like she's trying to take it off. All right, I will say yes to this one. Soledad, myself, and Lisa. Thank you. Okay, and for case 012. Great. All right, thank you, Jason. Thank you, Mylin and Madeline. And Chico.
You want 4?
Yeah, Jason, Mylin, Madeline, Chico.
Can I join that one too?
Sure, yeah, Sam. Awesome. Okay, we are all set. Thank you. All right.
Could you repeat the members for 010, Jason, Milan, and myself and one other? Right.
For 010, I have Soledad, myself, and you.
No, 012.
012 is Jason, Lynn, Madeline, Sam, and I believe Chico said also. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Cool. All right, great. Thank you.
Uh-huh. All right, if that is all for cases, we will go to public comment. And I believe Amy said she could do the directing for us.
There is one person in line for public comment.
Okay.
Trisha Holland. I wasn't sure if you wanted to make a public comment.
You would like to, you can unmute yourself and feel free to speak.
Thank you. No comment for me, but thank you all for your work.
Thank you, Trisha. We appreciate you being here. Awesome. Well, I think if that is it, unless anybody has anything else, we can give you back about 45 minutes of your time this evening. Wonderful. Thanks, everyone. Have a lovely night.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Odessa.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Good night.